The start of the NFL season is almost directly upon us, and I thought, what would be a fun draft mission to do? Let's leave it all out on the table. Let's draft the slappiest fantasy football team possible in Best Ball Mania over on Underdog Fantasy. So, friends, that is exactly what we're going to be able to do. We drew the 4th pick in this draft, and every time I come up on the clock from the 1.4 all the way to the 18th round, I'm going to ask myself, what would the king of the slaps do? This is going to be my audition. Tell you what, the first thing a slappy would do, they would be worried about Justin Jefferson's hamstring injury, and they would select CeeDee Lamb. Very funny that they are both exactly the 4.2 in average draft position. I am happy to do that. It's going to set us up to make a very slappy pick at 21. I wonder if this team is going to be able to advance in Best Ball Mania. Maybe even win. How perfect would it be to win $2 million drafting the slappiest possible fantasy football? All right, we are making our pick here in the second round. A.J. Brown would be quite nice, but let's be honest. King of the slaps, Brock Bowers, a second-year tight end, playing for the Las Vegas Raiders. I mean, taking a Las Vegas Raiders player very early in a fantasy football draft, very slappy thing to do. Slappies love two things. They love young players, and they love undefined upside. By the way, if you are new around here, you have no idea what a slappy is. It's sort of a you know it when you see it situation, but it's basically that guy in your league who only cares about having a fancy screenshot of his roster. He doesn't care about scoring points, doesn't care about winning, doesn't care about, reality. All that a slappy cares about is a cool looking roster with lots of very ill-defined upside cases. So we have CeeDee Lamb, we have Brock Bowers, obviously another thing slappies love to do. They absolutely love to draft pass catchers. A slappy is not drafting Josh Jacobs. No chance, no how. Something a slappy would definitely do at this next pick. I'd love to get Amari Hampton over drafting a rookie running back with an ill-defined pass catching role. Why would we be drafting Amari Hampton here? Well, don't you know? Najee Harris is basically out there running blind on the field, walking laps. There we go. We are going to select Amari Hampton. So we have Brock Bowers, we have CeeDee Lamb, and we have Amari Hampton. I think we are making our slappy ancestors very proud right now. All right, we are back up here on the clock. Again, the slappies, they love Breece Hall. Breece Hall's never had a 1,000-yard season. That doesn't matter to people like me. Also, we did get a good little bit of ADP value there. It looks like Cortland Sutton went very easy. Not a very slappy pick. I did see Devontae Adams falling down here a little bit. That is sort of interesting. But we select Breece Hall, and you might be saying, Davis, a slappy would never start with 2 running backs in their first 4 picks with a tight end. To which I would say you are wrong. First, because, I am the authority on all things slappy. All things slap flow through me. But more importantly, Breece Hall is just kind of the poster boy of how slappies draft running backs. He's young. He's theoretically very good, but has not done very much of that very good playing on the field. And of course, most importantly, he's very involved in the passing game. It also requires a relatively large leap of faith in a bad NFL quarterback, Justin Fields, who has not played very well in the National Football League. Our team is also skewing very young. All of these players, other than CeeDee Lamb, are still on their rookie contract, which is sort of a hallmark of slappy drafting. And it looks like coming up here, we are going to either get to select DJ Moore, who is sort of slap adjacent. I'm really hoping that this drafter ahead of me, there we go. We will select Jameson Williams, a player with a career high of 91 targets, but many hundreds, maybe hundreds of thousands of excuses as to why he is going to be better this season. You can always find yourself a slappy player when there are easily convincible reasons for why that player has been bad to mediocre for fantasy football in the past, but is going to clearly, this is the year that they're going to be good in fantasy football. That is a true hallmark of a slappy fantasy football player. All right, some slap favorites went off the board here. Jalen Waddle at pick 65. How about a Caleb Johnson out of left field? Oh, we're on the borderline of this one getting tossed. Yeah, I mean, look, a second-year wide receiver in Rome Odunze who only generated 734 yards and 3 touchdowns as a rookie, but surely this is going to be his year. So just kind of interesting stuff happening on this board right now. Looks like this user selected David Njoku at pick 54, RJ Harvey at pick 43, Hunter Henry at pick 67. Joe Burrow randomly went off the board here at 58. No idea what is going on in this Best Ball Mania draft. Sometimes you do see stuff like that. You know what is another big slappy tendency? Slappies love to say this. They say, this one's getting tossed. The underdog is going to throw this draft out. No way. You could just press the plane and log out. I would say as of right now, I wouldn't anticipate this draft getting canceled. Well, Bo Nix went at pick 19, so maybe it will get canceled. You never know. Obviously, you guys will know a little bit later if I end up having to re-record the slappy video. Maybe if this one gets tossed out, we'll do the slappy video a little bit closer to the beginning of the NFL regular season. We took Rome Odunze. I would say maybe a poster boy of slappy wide receiver picks this year. Just very little production, not even a ton of like coach speak or hype or reason to think that this is going to be Rome Odunze's year. But he's young. He plays with an offensive coordinator that we have been told by our best ball overlords to like. So there we go. We're going to select Rome Odunze. Next up, we are going to select Matthew Golden. 1, we're going to take a rookie wide receiver ahead of ADP because that is what we do. 2, doesn't even matter that he was not particularly good in college football. Obviously, if you really like Matthew Golden, you probably watched the Don't Fade These 3 wide receivers video on the channel on Sunday. But Matthew Golden is sort of, I guess it depends on which side of the political sloppy spectrum you are on, but Golden is clearly meeting a bunch of the criteria of a slappy because it doesn't even matter if we think he's good or not, but it's a first-round wide receiver, and first-round wide receivers in fantasy football go burr. All right, thinking about what we are doing here with the 93rd overall pick, we are, frankly, running out of options if Jaylen Warren gets selected. When I think about what is the most slap thing you can do, it would certainly be taking a passing down satellite back like Jaylen Warren. Najee Harris leaves town. How do the Pittsburgh Steelers respond? Well, they immediately draft another big, bruising interior runner. Gosh, Jaylen Warren goes. That is painful. It really is. I don't see an obvious slappy pick here. So what we're going to do is we're going to take Justin Fields. I'm going to pull him up a little bit in ADP. I think you'd be hard-pressed to make an argument that Godwin, Shakir, Brian Robinson, Jordan Mason. I mean, you don't want to talk about anti-slap picks. Mooney, Pittman, Kupp, Etienne, Coleman, Ayuk. I mean, these are all very firm, what would you call the reverse of a slappy? I guess just a normal, well-adjusted, balanced drafter is very likely to be selecting those. Maybe boomers, I guess the opposite of a slappy is a boomer. This is kind of the boomer range. This is where the boomers are able to draft their favorite players. We have a little bit of a weird stack here with Fields and Brees, although the correlated upside there actually I think is fairly high because if Brees is a big hit for fantasy football this year, it's because Fields played well, and it's also Fields completing a decent number of passes to the running back position, given that they don't really have any other pass catchers, right? Even Mason Taylor has a high ankle sprain. Jordan Mason is fairly slappy. We are talking about a career replacement level running. I'm not giving Davis, what are you doing? Rashid Shaheed, a speed wide receiver, playing with maybe Tyler Shuck, maybe Spencer Rattler, maybe Jay Canner. Shaheed was more of a slappy play last year. Famously, my friends Peter Overzet and Pat Carrain, not nearly as in on Rashid Shaheed this year, but I think he certainly is more slappy than Jordan Mason. I was about to make the case for Jordan Mason right there, but it feels like he's kind of equal opportunity. Shaheed, I think, pretty clearly more of a upside is the only thing that matters. Ignore everything that's wrong. Ignore that everything from Saints training camp is bad. Ignore that they're probably going to have the worst quarterback play in the NFL, and just look at the short, fast guy run fast. Wow, Nick Vannett. Okay, this one's probably going to get tossed, but hey man, you never know. The Nick Vannett selection gets followed up by Keenan Allen. I think we just very clearly do Dak Prescott here. First off, as every good slappy knows, you can't win with an unstacked, uncorrelated team. We now have Dak Prescott with CeeDee Lamb. I don't know. Could I have done something else there? Could I have taken Brandon Ayuk, a player who really has never been a volume earner, just had that one crazy efficient season? Sure. Trying to think about some of the options here with our next pick. We are needing to take a running back. Even Travis Etienne is meeting where my rank is. Can't really think of a less slappy player. Scadaboo is pretty slappy. Tootin is quite slappy. Bigsby is turning into a slappy player now that he is getting a little bit more expensive. Some of the people who were not drafting him early are starting to pull him up. Spears could have been a candidate for us as well. We already have a tight end. We do positionally need a running back. Now, do slappies care about such things as like reasonable positional allocation? Hampton and Brees are our only running backs. I don't know. You guys comment down below. Do slappies care about positional allocation, or do they just care about, buddy, I need the best possible looking roster? Gosh. Okay, at least I don't have to take ETN now. A slappy would ignore all the other conditions and take the rookie wide receiver, Luther Burden. They took the rookie wide receiver with an attitude problem. They would take the rookie wide receiver who is a very boom-bust prospect profile. I believe that my friend Ron Stewart said that he would rather draft Luther Burden than have a wife and children. So I'm going to use that as my guiding light and take my 6th wide receiver here with Luther. We definitely need to take a running back here. We have one more pick before we get to take who I think, frankly, is the king of the slaps. I mean, Byshell Tootin, a day 3 pick who went to North Carolina AT&T, then to Virginia Tech. We are going to take Byshell Tootin, who clearly is not the lead running back on his team. At best, he is the running back 3 on the Jacksonville Jaguars, behind Tank Bigsby, behind Travis Etienne. But if you squint and you think about it, Byshell Tootin's very athletic. Byshell Tootin can contribute in the passing game in a way that we are not expecting Bigsby to. So we kind of, actually, I mean, guys, obviously he is the most slappy pick. He is both very athletic, he's young, he's a rookie, and we are telling ourselves, just in my mind right now, I'm like, yes, well, obviously he can run the ball better than Bigsby if given the opportunity, and he'll be just as good, if not better of a pass catcher than Etienne. So clearly, it's just a matter of time before Byshell Tootin ends up being the absolute lead running back for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And that, folks, is how you get deep inside the mind of a slappy. That is a true walkthrough of the process to how a day 3 rookie running back on the Jacksonville Jaguars ends up being just the absolute piece de resistance of a masterpiece painted to the slappy masses. Next up, we are very much hoping to select Jaden Blue from the Dallas Cowboys here. Again, another day 3 running back behind Javonte Williams, behind Miles Sanders, maybe even behind Phil Maffa, maybe even behind Deuce Vaughn. You never know. But, folks, he's a rookie running back who runs a 4.3 and is on the Dallas Cowboys. What more do you need other than that? King of the slap turn there, Tootin and Jaden Blue. That's what you call landing the slap plane. Again, a couple different avenues that we could do here. I think we probably need a tight end, but I'm saving something for that later. So instead, we are going to select one Mr. Dylan Sampson. Again, an undersized speed back on the worst team in football, the Cleveland Browns. They had 8 rushing touchdowns as a team last year. Jerome Ford is certainly going to be the starter, and if and when Quinshon Judkins returns from suspension, he probably is going to leapfrog Dylan Sampson, but that doesn't matter to me, because I can't read that sign, because I can't read at all. Just kind of unclear to me what this fella's doing. Zach Ertz, Andy Dalton, DeAndre Hopkins. I got nothing here. Again, another very slappy move here. We're going to take Jalen Knoll. Path to playing time? I don't know. He's behind Christian Kirk. He's definitely behind Jaden Higgins. He's behind Nico Collins. Behind Dalton Schultz for sure. Maybe even potentially behind Cade Stover, but he's a rookie. I thought he was good in college. He had, I believe, a 9.7 RAS coming out of Iowa State University. Plays in an offense that I expect to pass a lot. So, we are drafting Jalen Knoll, slapping it up. Again, just very tough decisions to be made here, but I do know one guy I absolutely had to take, again, coming into this draft. We feel good at tight end with Brock Bowers. Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, a guy with a cool name, a guy who's in a backfield with the most boring players imaginable, 31-year-old Austin Eckler, Brian Robinson Jr., absolute boomer favorites in B-Rob. Is JCM going to make the team? Does he have a cool origin story? Does Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt have a cool origin story? Of course he does. You always have to include coolness of name, coolness of college highlights. I mean, these are big, slappy indicators for Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt. He also has a cool nickname. They call him Bill, as in Bill Brasky. It's like a little bit of a bit. Probably the kids out there don't even know who Bill Brasky is. I do know one absolute clear pick we have to make as well. I knew this coming into the draft. Davis, you're doing a blind seal draft. You know, we're thinking about who are the slappiest players on the board. I mean, look, I would say other than Byshell Tootin, my number one nominee and candidate for slappiest guy on the board. It's Harold Fandon Jr., a backup tight end, again, on the worst team in the National Football League. We got to take him. Duck feet, but was the most productive tight end like in college football history at a school that barely exists. We have one pick left. Our team is Justin Fields and Dak Prescott. We did miss out on Anthony Richardson to sort of compete the triumvirate of slappy quarterbacks. Our running backs are Amarian Hampton, Breece Hall, Byshell Tootin, Jaden Blue, Dylan Sampson, and Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt. We've got CeeDee Lamb, Jameson Williams, Rome Odunze, Matthew Golden, Rashid Shaheed, Luther Burden, and Jalen Knoll. So that is 1, 2, 3 rookie wide receivers. We have king of the slaps at tight end, Brock Bowers and Harold Fandon Jr. I got to be honest, guys, the way this is coming together, better than my wildest dreams in terms of a true slap onslaught. I think I'm doing a phenomenal job here. So many ways we could go with this final pick. I mean, how many guys could you nominate here? Of course, we have Dontavian Wicks, a longtime favorite. I would say Dontavian Wicks is basically the blindest seal. You know, could we take Jordan James? Could we take Ollie Gordon? Could we take A.D. Mitchell? Sure. But come on, guys. There is no player who more represents the blind seal renaissance than Dontavian Wicks. Truly, guys, I'm giving this a 10 out of 10. I am giving this a 10 out of 10. A 2-6-8-2, a very slappy structure. Fields and Prescott, I would say Fields is a 10 out of 10 slap. Prescott's kind of whatever. Amari and Hampton, 10 out of 10. Breece Hall, 10 out of 10. Tootin, 10 out of 10. Blue, 10 out of 10. Sampson, more like a 7 out of 10. Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, 10 out of 10. CeeDee, whatever. J-Mo, 10 of 10. Rome, 10 of 10. Golden, 8 out of 10. Shaheed, 7 out of 10. Burden, 10 out of 10. Knoll, 10 out of 10. Wicks, 100 out of 10. 11 out of 10. You know, a billion out of 10. The blindest seal. Then we have Brock Bowers. Then we have Harold Fandon Jr. Just truly, there's only one way to describe this team.